Hi, it's Olivia, aka Biblioghoul, and it's been a while, so thanks to everyone who's still subscribed. Um, I was last on here in September and I was so excited for October because I love horror books and I read so many, but I went through some challenges with mental health and then I was all excited to finally get back in January and I got COVID. So it's been interesting, but I've still been reading this whole time, so I'm happy to continue talking about books. And I'm super excited because if you clicked the link to this video, you probably know that that February is Blackathon, and I actually joined YouTube after February. So I haven't gotten to participate in the readathon yet, and I'm really excited to do that this year. I couldn't pick a team. I think if I had to choose, I'd probably choose like the fiction, nonfiction team. But I read all over the place, so I decided to vlog and participate in that way on YouTube, but I'll also be reading the prompts from various teams that were given. So the readathon is hosted by Jessie from Bow Ties and Books. I'm wearing some green lipstick today to match. And a bunch of other creators, both on YouTube and Instagram, which I will link below. There's a ton of ways to participate. So anyways, I'll get started on my TBR. So the first book I'm going to be picking up is called Chain of Change, Struggles for Black Community Development by Mel King. So my job is in history in Boston, and I wanted to read this before I got the job, but Mel King is a well-known activist in that area, and this covers like the 50s and through 70s, I believe. So it's covering issues like housing, busing, education, everything you could think of. And there's actually, I just noticed there's a blurb by Angela Davis, so that's great. I'm really excited to read this book. So that's the first one. And this book is 336 pages, so it covers the prompt of between the page limit of 312 and 387. Another nonfiction book I'm looking forward to reading is called Force and Freedom, Black Abolitionists and the Politics of Violence by Kelly Carter Jackson. So I've been wanting to read this book since I heard that it was coming out because it's about abolition, but particularly Black abolitionists, and it talks about the politics of violence and force and how these activists were able to disrupt systems much differently than the way that white abolitionists were writing literature and things like that. So I'm very interested in this forceful, violent activism. And I was going to use this for the prompt. It explores the duality of vengeance and justice, which might be stretching it a little bit, but yeah. So the next two books I'm picking will cover the trans representation category. So the first one is Pet by Akwaeke Emezi, and I love Akwaeke Emezi's writing, so I'm excited to read another book by them. And this book is about a Black trans child who becomes friends with a monster in a world where monsters are the enemy. The next book is also a long time coming. It is the 5th season. It's part of the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, and I love sci-fi and fantasy, but I enjoy it most when there are critiques of power structures and climate crisis and things like that. So this book is like the one to read if you like speculative fiction at all. So I am finally gonna read it this month. So the next two books both have adjectives in the title. The first one is The Good House by Tananarive Due. Tananarive Due is like the go-to person for an analysis of race and blackness in horror movies, so I am super excited to finally read one of her books. The Good House is a haunted house tale. The main character's son commits suicide, so the main character ends up investigating the house where it happened, and it goes from there. The next book is called Revolutionary Power, An Activist's Guide to Energy Transition by Shalonda Baker. So I've been trying to read more nonfiction about the environment, and energy is something that I know absolutely nothing and goes right over my head. And I believe this book in particular is looking at like revolutionary ways to develop energy sources, especially in the wake of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico that devastated the area, looking at ways to put the power related to energy back into the people's hands, back into BIPOC hands, back into poor hands, back into indigenous hands. So I'm really excited for that angle of the book. I've been waiting for this next book to come out because I follow Deshaun Harrison on Twitter and have appreciated their thoughts on fatness and other topics. So I have been waiting for my local library to finally get this book, which is The Belly of the Beast, Politics of Anti-Fatness as Anti-Blackness. I think the book will go into how fat black people are policed and denied access to certain things, and how desirability is talked about around those factors. So yeah, can't wait to read it. And this book can go in the physical health representation category, I think it was called. So the next book is The Sky Papers, and I think it was Sage from Sage Reads that gave such a great review to this book. But it has a lot of the things that I like. I think it was saying the characters are black, punk, revolutionary, whimsical people in the 90s, and I guess the book is written kind of poetically or in a different format than usual, I think, which I'm always interested in. So I'm counting it for the category of romance between two black people. So there are a few books by black authors that I wanted to read that I couldn't figure out how they fit into the categories of Blackathon, but also they could fit, but I just wouldn't know because I haven't read them yet. So the first book is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I want to read everything that Toni Morrison has ever written. I had to read a more theoretical book by her in college. I'm blanking on the name now. I'll put it here later. And then also I read Sula and I loved that book. So I'm excited to finally read Beloved. I know Beloved covers the trauma of slavery and the loss of a child, and there's some ghostly hauntings happening or something. So yeah, I can't wait to pick it up. I also want to read All We Can Save, which is a collection of chapters about different issues in the environment. But I've always been intimidated by it because it is so long, but I'm hoping to finally read it this month. And I follow some of the people that I've written in this book, and I find them so inspirational. So I'm sure there will be so many things, for so many tidbits for me to learn here. I also want to read So Many Beginnings, which is a young adult black retelling of The Little Women, and I love The Little Women. And so I can't wait to see what they do with the story. The last book is How Beautiful We Were, which I actually just started listening to on audiobook because I was in the library, and I always browse, even though I shouldn't, because I always already have enough books to read and then get another one, of course. But I saw that on audiobook, and so I've been listening to it. So sorry if this is abrupt, my camera just died, so I don't know if this is the same angle that I was talking at before. So I think I was talking about how beautiful we were and how it was set in this fictional African village that is fighting against an oil company for the health of their community. It's been really compelling and heart-wrenching so far to see all of the perspectives in the village that are being affected in different ways by this company, and the different ways that people are fighting back against it. Yeah, I'm enjoying that so far. I'm also going to be reading the book by Sarah Blake for the Climate Club this month, and I will be buddy reading Mutual Aid by Dean Spade with Sean from Storytime. So obviously this is a lot of books and I'm not going to get to all of them, but this is the edited version of my TBR and I couldn't bear to take a single one off. So if you have experiences with any of these books and you think that I should read them first because they're excellent, or if you want to buddy read anything because you're also doing Blackathon, let me know. If you've watched to the end of the video, put a snake because that is the vibe we have with this lip. And I am super looking forward to getting back on YouTube and reading a bunch of amazing books and doing it in such a lovely community that Jessie has created. Happy reading, everyone!